Welcome, everybody, to the A Little Less Fear podcast. I'm your host for the show, Dr. Lino Martinez. You can call me Dr. Lino, you can call me Lino, or Little Lean Dog, because, I'm barely 5 feet tall. But anyways, we don't need to go into that any deeper anymore. So anyways, guess what? This month of March is going to be dedicated towards meditation. Meditation power, babies. Why meditation? Because it is one of the most central thing in my life every day, like 3 times a day. I meditate about 3 times a day. Sometimes I meditate for about 10 minutes. Sometimes I meditate for 30 minutes. And sometimes even 5 minutes. I've learned that meditation, really, there is no cap to it. And there's no minimum. There's no requirement on how long you have to meditate or how little you have to meditate. The one thing that I've learned, though, in the last year and a half or so, and now that I'm meditating daily, is that it's increased my positivity. It's given me more mental energy. It's helping me align with my life's purpose. And it's just giving me mental clarity that I never had before. Or the clarity was there and it was waiting to be unlocked. And meditation is definitely helping me unlock things and make things more clear in my life. Oh, yeah. So another reason why I want to talk about meditation this month is because I often have people ask me, Lino, how do you juggle having a disability and injecting twice a day with biologic medications and taking 7 different pills? And how are you able to do that? And how are you able to go to your doctor's appointment and be a thorough patient and be a dedicated patient? And those are all great questions, and I'm telling you now, it's not easy. There's sometimes I just can't get out of bed because my body hurts so much, and sometimes you got to listen to your body. If your body is really tired and it needs a rest, give it a rest. It's okay. That's okay to give your body a rest. Sometimes when you give your body a rest, you also give your mind a rest, and everything else can rejuvenate together. All the cells can work in harmony and regrow and make themselves all better. So ultimately, the reason why I meditate is to make sure that others don't suffer the way I have in my life and the way that I still suffer sometimes with my genetic disease. I tell myself that there are a lot of other people who have it worse, and I pray for them. Oh yeah, something that's really awesome that I've learned about meditating is a different way to pray. I grew up Catholic, and I was raised Catholic. I had my first Holy Communion when I was 8 years old, and then I had to go to catechism, learn all my prayers. And after I did my first Holy Communion, I had for those of those tuning in for the first time, I had a quinceañera because I am FTM, female to male. And when I turned 15, my parents threw this huge party. This is up for another podcast session, but I'm just trying to tell you, what I'm going to tell you is that it included church and included confessing my sins and all this stuff that I had to do as a loyal Catholic person. When I turned 18, I decided I didn't want to do my confirmation because at that time now I was starting to think for myself, and I wasn't being easily influenced by my parents anymore. I wasn't being influenced by Catholic school or anything like that. I was starting to grow up. I was a teenager, and I was starting to realize that I wanted to think for myself and not have a religion that was imposed on me since I was a kid to be thinking for me. And throughout my, I'm just giving you a brief little history here on how I became a practicing Buddhist because I love it now. I love it, and I'm so happy now. So here is my journey. Basically, I even went through feeling like an atheist when I was in my 20s. I felt there was no God, there's no gods, and then I also went through thinking there was no point of life, and I went through a depression in my early 20s, and to flash forward through all my pain and struggles that I've been through, all the hours and days and times that I've spent in the hospital, it really brought me into my center being. There were times that I spent in the hospital with, actually, to be honest with you, I never turned on the television, except to watch Saturday Night Live, baby. Oh, yeah. I did turn it on to watch Saturday Night Live in the hospital, everybody. But anyways, aside from that, I didn't watch TV. I was reading a lot in the hospitals, and I was in my mind a lot. And I even missed the Facebook, the Facebook culture, because Facebook became big when I started to have a lot of surgeries. And within that 10 year of Facebook growing, I was by myself in the hospitals a lot, and and in my mind a lot, and wondering what caused my suffering and why I'm suffering a lot, and nothing was helping me really. What as far as spiritually connecting with myself and what the moral reasons were, um, for me to have gone through so much. And it took a lot of tears, it took a lot of stitches, it took a lot of personal, in depth realizations for me to realize where my journey was headed. And my journey was headed ultimately to make sure that others don't suffer. And with that realization, before I even started meditating and before I even knew about too much about Buddhism culture, I started to really face the fact that my life could be cut short if I didn't find medications to help me. And what did I want to do at that point to make sure that I made my life fruitful and helpful and beneficial for others? I started thinking about what others might feel if they were in other situations, in worse situations, and being more compassionate about others. And then I started to realize that the word compassion was a common theme in Buddhism, and that is the foundation of where I found myself, in being compassionate with others' pain. All my bad experiences led me to realize that this life is definitely meant for me to make an impact on others. And whether it's by me disclosing everything I've been through, how I've gone through it, and how I discovered for myself that meditation and realizing karmic expressions as being part of one of the most significant things that I can encounter in my life, I started navigating and questioning myself a little more on where I was going to align myself with the universe. And then came an opportunity for me to see an awesome monk speak at a theater. And when I saw him, it's like, to me, it was almost magical. It was beautiful seeing him with the spotlight and how everybody was quiet meditating and everybody was focused on intention and on something good, and to make sure that something springs out of your heart healthy and happily. I started to realize this was my placement, because everything that he was speaking of, everything that he said, it just rang true to me, and it opened up my heart. And I felt that there were parts of my heart then that had been closed for so long. And I don't want to close that heart anymore, everybody. I'm not going to close my heart. I'm a light worker, and I'm learning that a light worker is a person that lends their light to the world in order to heal people. We are meant to heal people, and I know that this is part of my journey, and this is why I'm continuing here, to light up the world. And if it takes my voice to do that, I'm going to do whatever it takes, because I just want to make sure that people get the opportunity in their life to understand that they do make a difference, to understand that they do have the opportunity to become enlightened, and that they also have the opportunity to help other people. And we're all a big web. We can all help each other, and that is the most beautiful thing about life. Indeed, it is. Yes, it is. So karma, wow. I'm learning a lot about karma. I always thought karma was what I think the majority of the population thinks, which is a cause and effect. You do good, good comes back. You do bad, and bad comes back. But what I'm learning is that karma goes way deep, a lot deeper. And one of the most important things that I'm learning about karma is that intentions are precursors to karma. And what I mean by that is that the function of intention is to create karma, whether it is a positive or a negative effect. So the function of intention is to create karma. You best believe that it's really important to align your body, speech, and mind to virtuous things in order for you to live a really healthy moral life, and for good karma to come back to you. For good karma to ripen, you need to do good, and you need to be good at doing good and do good at being good. What do I mean by that? What does it mean to do good? For me, to do good means to be better every day, and to be better at things that I never even thought of that I could be better about, which one of them, by the way, is meditation. And I will circle back and come back to meditation in a minute when I'm done talking about karma. Because karma, everybody, is really, really, really important for us to know in order for us to have good come back to us. How do we make good come back to us? That is a really, really good question. Training your mind and thinking good. And I don't just mean positive, like, oh, I'm going to have a good day today and I'm going to go skipping along. I mean, like, some Star Wars Jedi stuff, sitting down, closing your eyes, taking a deep breath, and grounding yourself and thinking about something. You can simply, by concentrating on one object or on many objects for the benefit of all, can definitely open up your mind to a new existence that you didn't even know you had inside your mind. And by doing that, all the energy that you create is good. It's good energy. And the more you do good, the more you want to be better at being good. I'll give you an example. Something that I love to do when I'm running out of energy. When, let's say, running. For example, today I went running. I'll go running, whether it's just a short little run, quarter of a mile. And if I'm really exhausted, I start thinking to myself, I'm going to dedicate this run to the people that are more exhausted than me, more tired than I am. And that, even just that thought, or even just imagining Buddha in front of me saying, you can do this, you got this, you got this. I do got this, and I am able to do it. And I'm able to feel even better at the end, and everything just has more meaning. I remember before I used to pray, and when I used to pray, my prayers were really egotistical, and I did not realize how egotistical it was to pray until I started learning how to dedicate prayers and learning how to meditate. Because before, it's like, I'm sorry I did this, my sins, this and that, and now I did this wrong, and it was just filled with guilt, and there was no resolution at the end of my prayers. I think a lot of people don't know how to pray, and one of the most beautiful things about prayers is that you can extend your prayers to the world. So let's hypothetically say that I pray and I wish for good fortune for my family. And I will also pray and wish good fortune for the people that live around me in my neighborhood. And I also wish for good fortune of health and wisdom and enlightenment and glory and all that good spiritual stuff to the whole world and all the people that are suffering. And if you could just just magnify everything. And then now you're praying for everybody. And when you pray for everybody, it actually gives you more energy. And it's just like, it's a pretty awesome karmic effect when you do that. I'm going to tell you that much. Pretty good, awesome karmic effect. I've also noticed that I'm enjoying eating more. I do have a feeding tube. For those people that don't know what a feeding tube is, it's a tiny little plastic thing in my tummy. And there's a little tube where I can feed myself through with the syringe, and I can connect this other external tube, and I eat like that 3 times a day. I eat other stuff by mouth too, like cottage cheese, ice cream, whatever, for those who are curious. But anyways, the reason why I'm bringing my feeding tube up is because there are times where I feel, and I ask myself, what can I do to be more appreciative of this lifestyle that I have for the rest of my life? What can I do? Because being quite frank here, it's not fun having a feeding tube. I mean, I got to navigate running and working out and exercising, making sure the balloon doesn't pop, and sometimes there's pain around it, and sometimes there's little granulomas form. I mean, there's all kinds of other things that you have to take care of and watch out for when you have a feeding tube. So it's not the best life, but what helps me is grounding myself and coming back down and saying, you know what? At least I have a feeding tube. And because of my feeding tube now, I'm able to gain weight. I was able to help other people now who have feeding tubes and make sure that they're getting organic meal and making sure that insurances are on point on covering organic meals for people that are tube fed. I'm speaking for people that have feeding tubes that can't speak, and that is amazing. I'm finding purpose in everything that I do simply by thinking about other people, not just my situation that I'm currently in. Another thing that helps me is dedicating my meals. So let's say I dedicate all of my tube meals to everybody in the world. For those people who are suffering, who can't eat, who don't have even a pea a day, whatever it is, all my love I give to them. And it feels so powerful, and I end up feeling full and happy and satisfied. Let's say that I'm eating cottage cheese, which I eat every day, and I do mix it with I chop up some apples. It's really delicious. I mean, you get your protein in. You get your dairy, you get your vitamin D, and you're feeling good. So before I put one spoonful in my mouth, I will look at it and I will say, this goes to all my spiritual, all people from my past, my spiritual team, goes through the 3 jewels, and then I make a dedication, say this goes to all the people who can't eat. And just even saying that in my mind, or even if I say it out loud, the very first spoonful that goes in my mouth tastes delicious. And you best believe I'm appreciating every single bite because I'm dedicating it to everybody. And by doing that, it's an amazing feeling. You end up feeling like you've done something good. And all of these things are really promising for me to keep building my life and keep going and keep inspiring people. Because even though you're not face to face with somebody inspiring them, you're doing it with your mind. And the power of the mind is one of the most powerful things ever. I mean, Stephen Hawking was an amazing proof of that. He was all mind, and his mind was all power. And we all have that same power within us. We just have to know how to activate it. And I think we can. So going back to what does it mean to get good at being good? To get good at being good means to try your best. Try your best every day. And even if those days you don't feel your bestest, at the end of the day, tell yourself, you know what, I didn't feel my bestest, but I still tried to be my bestest, even on my lowest. And tomorrow you might have more energy. And if you do, dedicate that energy to the world, to the people that don't have energy. And then you guys can all share energy together. How beautiful is that? So coming up on my podcast this rest of the month, I'm dedicating on different topics that have to do with meditation. I'm going to be interviewing 2 teachers, Buddhist teachers, and talking about the purpose of life, talking about the benefits of meditation, talking about the different ways to meditate, and the things that we can do when we meditate. Oh, yeah, everybody, holla to the world. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast, and I will be talking soon. I love you all very much, wishing everybody countless blessings and much love. Oh, yes.